9:59.
Good morning. I'd like to call the Operations Committee meeting to order. Is there any pecuniary interest?
Unknown.
I have none. We have no delegation. Our prior meetings minutes were approved at the last council meeting. Didn't see anything in business arising from the minutes. I know as we get into the budget stuff, there's a few items on there that we'll probably classify, but we can leave that till that time. Move down to the health and safety inspection sheets. I believe there was one item. I don't know whose handwriting it is. It was a little scribbly to read exactly what the
Storage
storage
room.
it was a rubber membrane floor or something. Was that it?
That was, yeah, I think that was last month. They get rid of it. We did a temporary fix on it.
Okay. No, it was noted again.
Yeah. I don't think it had, we've only done it once,
Okay.
like Jason and I.
I think it's just like the rubber flooring
Yeah.
between the dressing room and
Yeah,
the storage room is
yeah.
what I can kind of decipher from the handwriting.
I did bring in a contractor to investigate that area as well, to provide quite some quality assessments.
That was the only item on there.
Well, the other one was something about the gate
That's.
safety devices.
That's
Yeah.
not Public Works.
That's a.
Oh, sorry.
The main
Sorry.
gate, the company has been identified, or they've been called to come out.
I'm
and-
jumping ahead, sorry.
Yes.
I think that was noted too in the sheet that it was being considered.
Yes, look at that.
Okay. So move to receive and file the health and safety for the arena,
Seconded.
and then we'll move down to the Public Works. Which we had just that one item with the gate and this being addressed, so we'll receive and file that one too. Moving down to new business, Derek Lucas, would you like to come walk us through your arena monthly report, please?
Morning, this is being a monthly report for October. We had a new rate break line installed on the Olympia on October 2nd. The brake line failed on the first night of Reynolds. We had the Olympia service manager in on Saturday, October 4th for an emergency repair to the Olympia auger system. After much troubleshooting, it was determined that the horizontal auger motor was failing and losing power, causing the jam up in the auger. The motor was an original piece of equipment, 13 years old. Ainsworth Technical has completed the installation of 2 new replacement hot water boilers. The boilers were delivered on October 7th from IBC. The first boiler was installed on October 9th and then monitored by Ainsworth Technical, LK Metal Products, who is the supplier, and IBC, who is the manufacturer. Over the course of 12 days, no error code or failures were reported. The second boiler was installed on October 22nd. Ainsworth Technical will continue to monitor the boilers over the next few months. As of this report and today, there have been no reported issues. The last of our regular user group started at the rink in the week of October 13th. Schedule is very busy going forward for both primetime ice and non-primetime ice. We are seeing more requests than usual for primetime ice by youth hockey group. Redemption Paws utilized a small section of the arena parking lot for a dog transfer on Saturday, October 18th. Redemption Paws is a Canadian dog rescue charity that helps dogs who are affected by dire circumstances find their forever home. Blue Water Fab was in to replace a broken doorstop on the visitors bench. Black and Matt Plumbing Division were in for 5 small plumbing issues around the arena, flush valves, clogs, etc. We had some more requests to open up live barn for a couple user group. They're all set to go. October 23rd was e-waste collection day. Quantum Life Cycle Partners, in conjunction with Premier Recycling, hosted the event utilizing the arena front parking lot. The event was very well attended. We have received a request from Sarnia Yacht Club to utilize our parking lot for a for 7 days to store boat trailers next September. Sarnia Yacht Club will host a World Sailing Regatta. More discussion will be needed to figure out the logistics. We had a broken piece of rink glass in the morning of October 26th. This is our first broken glass in well over 1 year. Fingers crossed for the rest of the season. We've had a second one since. Work management, 3 full-time, 1 seasonal, and escape patrol when available. Employee training, all employees completed electrical safety online, and the Helen Lomax training session was canceled. Facility activity, prime time, we were 87% booked, and non-prime time, approximately 57% booked. Factors that may be affecting the October totals were the last of our regular user group started the week of October 13th. Queen Edward Minor Hockey has started as the fall portion of the hockey season, resulting in some primetime ice being returned for away games. Sarnia Minor Hockey has been utilizing most of the returned ice for their select hockey boat. Halloween and Blue Jays affected a little bit of ice time too. We had 6 hours of cancellation. In the interior, regular maintenance and cleaning continue daily. The new water bottle filling station has been very popular. We have had a couple requests for some signage, make it a little more visible. Exterior, general maintenance around the building. Community Hall, obviously the Optimists are still running it. The Optimist Club has been doing a lot of maintenance in the bar area and kitchen of the community hall, painting, deep cleaning, etc. Still awaiting a quote for the push bar on the door exiting the bar area of the community hall. Red and Co. have been running the concession since October 11. Inspection, monthly fire AED completed, generator completed, Orkin pest control in for monthly inspection, which is reported. And Jutsi Water Technology in to test the condensed water and set up the chemical control for the winter season. New chemicals were also delivered. In venue advertising, nothing to report this month. Vehicles and equipment, obviously we had some repairs on the Olympia, and we have a couple of parts on order that are in now for the wash water system. Customer satisfaction, lots of positive comments from returning user groups for the upcoming season. Health and safety, monthly SOP reviews as assigned by health and safety coordinator were completed. Nothing to report on security. Capital budget, still awaiting installation of cameras at the community hall. That has actually started and they are well on their way. We received an updated quote for the Olympia on October 6th. New arena rates have been discussed and will be presented at committee, which is today. And planning for the 2026 capital and operating budget continue. Closing comments, October was the first full month of ice for the 25-26 hockey season, or ice season. The ice schedule ramped up nicely as the month progressed. We welcome back the Queen Edward Skating Club and the last of our regular users just after Thanksgiving. On the maintenance side, we had 2 new hot water boilers installed and also dealt with a few repairs in the Olympia, along with lots of scheduled maintenance and inspections completed. Looking ahead to November, the ice schedule is very busy. We will continue to try and sell any unused or returned ice. Sarnia Minor Hockey has been very good at using any return from Queen Edward Minor Hockey. We will also continue to work with Queen Edward Minor Athletic Association as they prepare for their annual Spirit Day scheduled for Saturday, November 15th, all day affair. This year's theme is the 80s retro. If you have any questions or concerns, I'm glad to assist.
Any questions?
I did. First of all, on the Olympia, I know you told me this before, so just remind me, the motor issue. Did they put the new motor in?
It's in.
Thank you. And I did have another one. Oh, no, just a comment. Red and Co is doing gift certificates and they're really going,
Okay.
like really going well through the minor, like parents are buying them for Christmas gifts. I thought that was a great idea.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, they have the best prize of anywhere. So you can get a gift certificate for Christmas for the arena.
I have a question about the Olympia. When we had it in the summer, and is that just regular maintenance? Is there
Regular
any-
maintenance, yeah.
I guess my question is there any kind of warranty on, we'd have it shipped there? Is there any extended warranty on some of this other work?
So some of the stuff, like theirs is bearings. Some of the stuff they can't test there, like a load test on the motor, they wouldn't know it's failing. The wash water system, you actually have to physically be on the ice to see it working, so Obviously at the factory, they don't have a way of testing it. A lot of it's just, as he said, this Steve Kovic said, it's the age of the machine and you're at that point where stuff's gonna start failing. He goes, for that motor, the last 13 years, they were blown away. Because it's running every time and you're throwing a load of snow in there every time and it's a lot of wear and tear on that motor. He said he was surprised at it last time.
Okay,
So,
and that's why we're planning on replacing it
yeah,
in the near future.
hopefully.
No, I was just curious to have somebody come here. I didn't know if that was a big dollar item.
Yeah, actually, he did it on his way. He was heading to Detroit that day and he did it on his own. Obviously, we have to pay for it, but the travel wasn't what it would normally be if I had to call and say today and say I need a repair and they came down today.
But again, that's a relationship issue.
It is a very good relationship
Like,
issue.
because we've maintained a good relationship
Yeah,
with them
And I
and
mean, he was on his way to Detroit for the
Yeah.
night and he said, I'll bring the motor, we'll do some troubleshooting and then we determined that's what it was and he changed it right then and there.
Do you have a list of, like a waiting list on the canceled ice that you're just,
I have some people I do have some people.
Yeah.
but It's
I just didn't know if there
is
was like
people-
a-
I can cancel the ice today and by 4 o'clock tonight, they'll know that it's canceled.
yeah, because I'm
People
always
are watching that
impressed.
Calendar,
I'm always impressed when I look and I know that I can see Point Edward hockey teams were all out of town last weekend and that whole Saturday night was
Yeah.
full.
I think that was the first night I can remember that there was no minor hockey.
Yeah, for
And it was
without
sold
it
out.
being a tournament or something. No, it was
Yeah.
just, that was impressive that you had that filled up.
Yeah, I do have to
Immediately.
contact the Saturday.
I appreciate that it doesn't just sit there empty.
Um,
Just first thoughts on the yacht club using the parking lot in September. Has there been much feedback on that?
We've had some brief discussion. Jim's aware. I think most people are aware.
that was the other question. I thought it was 2027. Or the
You have to look at
because we're talking about it at tourism and it's just initial discussions. Because it's that far ahead.
Okay, I thought it was the 26th, but we'll look at me.
Okay, no,
It
I
was a
just,
phone call originally, and then
Okay.
I just told the guy that he needed to put something formally on paper.
Okay,
And then
and-
I sent, I think, Jim. And Mike,
like, I know September's not a really busy month for us with the arena, but I know I was thinking more about that neighborhood being affected by it, Alexander Monk, you know. that
my
corner.
understanding is they would come from out of town, load the boats in the water, and then just park them in the back parking lot for the week.
Mhm.
So
It's just the trailer.
they're not
Yeah.
shuttling them back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, there needs to be a lot more.
Just some consultation
Yeah.
as far as the neighborhood, how they would be affected by it.
Right, okay.
And the date is before arena opens.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Sorry,
saying.
yeah.
September's a
Yeah.
good month where
Yeah.
we're pretty quiet there, other than making
I have
ice.
to go back and look at
preparing,
the
but-
letter because I thought it was 2027.
Okay, that was just my thing, to
Okay.
make sure that we do kind of give the neighborhood a heads up.
Sure.
I think that's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul, for being our committee person for the last year. Good.
Don't tell anybody this is my favorite. I think I just did.
Yeah.
Everybody knows now.
Yeah. I don't get to do fire, so.
Twenty 2027.
Okay. Maybe a little prep time.
Well, there's so much logistics that go into this. This is a huge deal for this community.
If we're still here.
It's September 10th. And he said 40 to 50 boats.
Anytime you're ready, Mike.
Well, thank you. I will do the public works monthly report. Ending October 31st. Updates, there's nothing updated, updates from the previous reports. All working on 4 full-time personnel right now. There is some vacation hours that are being used prior to any of the snow that's other than the unexpected amazing snowstorm we recently had.
Yeah.
From an employee training point of view, we did complete the substance abuse policy or self-review as well as the safety self-review. On operations within the building, so there was a review of all the doors in terms of the large scale roll up doors. And we've got some pricing to be able to do some repairs, which we had in the budget. The repairs have been a little bit overdue in terms of some of the maintenance on those, so that will be completed prior to heavy winter. They're actually should be repaired this month. Externally, all the HVAC systems on the Public Works building have been identified, they've been reviewed. And we've got a list of what is necessary for some repairs and the next few replacements. Again, it had been a while since a proper review of all that equipment had been done, so it's nice to see that that's been completed. And again, the repairs will be completed this month in November. Road, sidewalks, parking lots, again, the staff continued to clean the catch basins as we did have our annual catch basin cleaning done at the end of last month and into this month. Which is important not only for public works, but also for the environmental services. Contractors in the village, for the October month, they did finish that, or work on and finished it at the beginning of this month. The staff removed all the rest of the EDR signage through the community, which was requested by Lincoln, County of Lincoln. Then we assisted with some contractors responsible for the demo of the Balmoral, again, just making sure that it was safety with the signage on these sidewalks and so that people understood kind of the transit areas around the space. Parks, public spaces, waterfront park, splash pad has been winterized, all plumbing details have been completed. Temporary washroom has been put down at the splash pad, as well as we're looking at putting a secondary one down to support any of the large events that are going to be happening for Christmas in the village and such. That will remain through all the winter months as again foot traffic continues to work down there in the main waterfront park. Washroom has been taken offline and winterized. Public Works identified 35 and completed 35 bench refurbishments. So that's from painting of the existing structures as well as putting new wood down and new plaques. They look really good. We worked on all the main heavily structural damage units that were down there, so and really concentrated as much as we could on waterfront park. But next year we're going to continue to move throughout the village and it's a nice refurbishment process, as well as that gives me some time to work on the memorial bench SOPs and some potential paths and details we could look at. Grass cutting, weed trimming, it's all been done. Was still happening at the beginning of the month because it was quite warm, but now all units per way, all units are winterized. So the guys are really starting to focus on winter activities. And again, tilling the parks, that's all been finished for the season. Continued garbage pickup, waterfront park and splash pad, it has noticeably slowed down. And then tree trimming had occurred quite a bit through the month. And then we had our annual brush collection day for chipping, which again was very successful. It's nothing to report. Vehicles, loader was taken in with a hydraulic leak. And it was returned, repaired. It's again, which is something that's that unit is it's getting older, so we are seeing some more repair issues with that. One of the Public Works trucks had a radiator issue, which was repaired, but all the other vehicles are operating as normal. From the other motorized equipment and tools, maintenance on lawn equipment, again, specifically the large stuff has occurred and the winterization has happened. Health and safety, all health and safety inspections occurred as normal. Security, nothing to report. Community feedback. We have nothing to report, but we did at the very end of the month have the committee for lighting up the end of these streets come in and just ask for some very specific details, which we're happy to support with them. And so that would be a nice addition. Looking forward, as always, the fall staff will just remain vigilant with compost, as in today. It's with the snow that happened, a lot of leaves and drops, so we're getting a lot of compost today. We're quite busy. And then tree trimming will happen throughout the month, just depending on weather dependent. Veterans Memorial set up for Remembrance Day, and they continue. Now we're starting to look at installation of Christmas lights at the village. And so, and then closing comments. Fall's arrived. Staff looking at transition.
For the Remembrance Day parade, I really appreciated the new cement detail at that location. And for the ceremony, like all that, it's all worked out really well. Yeah, I thought. You thought so too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gave them people that needed seating.
Yeah.
A solid place to sit,
Just-
set up chairs.
Was, just a better way to present in front of the cenotaph.
It was nice site detail that the engineer had provided us some suggestion on.
Yeah, right, it was a lucky
It was a nice catch during
Yeah,
that
that we had the chance to do that.
Mhm.
The only other thing for the light up the parkway, the only difference this year is we're gonna turn it on we're gonna start at 6:30 at the pergola instead of 7 o'clock.
Okay.
But that doesn't really affect anything for you guys, but just for awareness.
I will certainly let the staff know that they have installed all the extension ports accordingly.
Yeah, because I mean, it's dark and we just get it going earlier.
No questions, just, I know we're prepared for winter and most of the rest of the county got it, so.
Well,
Yeah.
yes. My house in East, yes, got a lot of snow.
I drove through it on Sunday coming back from Burlington and it was wild how much snow and how many cars were ditched and
Yeah.
the rest of the province got hit pretty hard.
So
It's great. We can receive and file that.
Seconded.
Street sweeper. Have you talked about having the street sweeper in this fall?
we had.
Okay.
The snow, we've kind of pushed off. We still have money in the budget and it's still on our objective list
Okay.
to be able to complete. We do street sweeping in the spring and in the fall. We usually wait till the leaves are down, for as many as
Yeah.
possible, and then,
So let us know and we'll send out
yes.
constant contact stuff.
Will do, thank you.
Just so many leaves on the trees still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we've hesitated to do it.
Move down to item 3, arena rental rate review.
Again, thank you. So again, with the review, Derek and I sat and reviewed the numbers over some of the years. Derek did a great job of pulling out data from other areas around. The recommendation is that the rates for the prime rate increase to $240 per hour, and 9-time rate increase to $100 per hour effective September 1st, 2026, and that these rates be reviewed on an annual basis moving forward. Description, well, again, through a thorough evaluation of the current fees, including comprehensive analysis of the local municipal area arenas. We just felt that it was establishing a fair and appropriate fee structure has been completed. With the discussion, this report will provide an overview of recommendations to increase the arena hourly rates for prime time use. Those point Edwards reviewed them, the hours for both prime time use and 9-time time use. Review continues to be part of a commitment to maintain the high quality recreational facilities while ensuring financial sustainability. Following this review, these rationale, including rising operational costs, which include the rising costs for utilities, staffing, maintenance, and then just general inflation. Benchmarking against other local municipalities, Ontario municipalities, as well as looking at the reinvestment into the facility improvements and some asset management details that we've been looking through. As bullet points, a fee review for 12 months will be implemented and assess impacts and considering the adjustments as needed. If we're finding that we are seeing some rental leaving because of fees, we can certainly adjust for that. Right now, we don't see that being a concern, but again, this is something we'll keep an eye on. If implemented, the fee structure will be rolled out to the user groups 3 months prior to the initial rental, will be reflected on the annual rental agreement. So there has been a new rental agreement that's been established, written with some appendices that each individual user group will have to review, sign, and return back to us. In the summertime, if this is approved, we will make sure that we send it out to those typical user groups, letting them know it's going to happen and increase will occur. It's a stakeholder engagement plan. We'll host consultation sessions with the arena users and explain the rationale if it's necessary. If we do have some people that are concerned about this, we can certainly put this together. I've got a plan to be able to operate this, as well as communication plan to be created just to discuss anything. Further down, you can see that we've identified what that looks like in current rates, proposed rate, including the percentage increases. And then below that was a quick chart that we put together, just identifying what the prime time rates are and what the 9-prime time rates are. Seeing Point Edward in comparison to our closest local municipality, Sarnia, is still quite a bit lower than their prime time rate as well as our non-prime time rate is still quite low, probably second lowest in the community, so. Financial impacts in the current year, the arena's estimated revenue is $340,000. If proposed, the increase in the ice rental fees is implemented, in the rental fee levels remain constant, but i.e. if all the teams come back, then we still have the same rental capability. It could generate an additional $32,000 in revenue over a full September to April season. Or if we're looking at just the calendar year, about 16,000 increase in revenues. So it is recommended that the fees for prime time hours move to 240 and the non-prime time move to 100.
Questions?
Concern.
Please.
I mean, I understand our costs, but it's an 8% increase, which. Is there any consideration of going partway to 230 to have less of a hit? It's just my own. I understand our costs, but I hate seeing hitting like the minor and things like that. Go Derek.
This will be, so our last increase was 2 years ago,
Okay,
and the last increase before that was 2 years. So
okay,
this would be technically, we've increased once in 4 years.
okay,
And generally speaking, the research I did, not to compare to Sarnia, but that's closest, they usually generally increase 3%, 3 to 4% every year. So we are still way behind Sarnia for prime
I
time.
know,
and,
but we're
no one
higher
has
than,
any- people have nowhere to go in prime time.
yeah.
It's the non-prime that
I mean, I know, like, I can see that needs to catch up, but I was just had a concern on the size of the increase.
ultimately we can discuss.
Certainly, I mean,
No, I just,
looking
it's
at
just
our.
my own,
No, certainly, I appreciate it. Looking at the existing user groups being such local user groups, we don't really pull anything from Moortown and Petrolia, which are our next closest in terms of prime time.
Yeah.
By keeping the ice low, would that still bring in potential people from Petrolia Moortown? Potentially, but I mean, from what we've seen, just doing that analysis, it doesn't behoove us not to look at an increase. And specifically on a yearly basis as we move forward, we'll be able to adjust it a little bit more on the fly. But we do feel, considering all the details, that this would be.
thank you, appreciate your explanation.
So this is my area of expertise.
Yeah.
I rent a lot of ice all over the place. I've always thought we were a bit low.
Okay.
Our arena is just beautiful. It's accessible. A lot of the other rinks have accessibility issues. There's so many benefits that our rink has that others don't. I think 240 is good. I had one thought, and I've been kind of kicking it with Derek a little bit about the big tournaments that we have. We have to bring in extra staff. We probably run overtime on that. And I was wondering if for event pricing, because this is where we live, is event pricing. If we've got a group that wants in all day Friday and it's costing us more money, and just, I realize that's an accounting issue, but do we not have non-prime on the Friday of some of these big tournaments? Because we have to put a lot of extra work into it. Our staff gets displaced, because I've had to go back there when I was coaching a team playing in the Silver Stick, and there's no staff room anymore. They run their offices out of our staff room. Would we consider event pricing for those Fridays?
We could certainly look at.
Because I know we're talking about this right now.
Yes.
And I look at it completely from a, what about us when it comes to these tournaments that come in? And we do have to add extra staff. We are running overtime just for a couple of those days, like just, and if it's Point Edward minor hockey, no. But Sarnia hockey benefits from the Silver Stick, and Sarnia girls hockey benefits from their Silver Stick. What about us? And I think we have to put a lot of extra into it. And it's only those 2 days that I can think of off the top of my head that we get hit for that.
Yeah, and I'd be interested in knowing how they handle it in Sarnia and in Forest and ones that do the
But again,
Silver Stick,
Sarnia hockey benefits from Sarnia.
right?
Lambton Shores minor hockey
Point Edward
benefits
isn't in
from
Silver.
Thetford and Lambton and Forest Silver
Yeah.
Stick. Same
Yeah.
thing with East Lambton, Watford, Point Edward. We're a satellite rink, and our minor hockey doesn't get the donation And as far as our point of minor hockey and our ice rate's going up a little bit, we give them a fairly sizable financial donation to go towards that. Some cities give a discounted rate, but only September, March. When they run their tryouts in April, I know I've talked to Sarnia hockey people, they pay prime time. They're paying the $350 an hour for their tryout ice. They don't get that. So I'm trying to think again, what about us? Like from our staffing, and we're putting extra people in, our displacement, and just for that, like an event pricing idea for those Fridays.
I can take back, Derek, and I can work on a quick little analysis to find out what that would look like in terms of costing for sure. But I'm for it. I do know that, again, one thing I see with my outside of work portfolio that I'm involved a lot in that type of thing. You know, every time we do go to a tournament or host, there's additional fees that have to be borne because of the number of people that are there and staff and so.
So it probably wouldn't affect, like, January is the Silver Stick, and so it would be
It'd be the year.
the year after.
That's correct.
Yeah, we're talking about
Yeah.
September
2027.
26th.
27.
Yeah, so September 26th increase, but just something like that, because that's always been, on my mind, is how it affects our staffing, and Derek and I've had the conversation too a bit about, just how these big tournaments, they're fun to have, but how it affects our staff and things like that.
Yeah, we gain in any rental.
Well, we're full, right? Our
We're
non-prime,
full.
our days are full, and we're displacing our regular users
Yeah.
for all our Fridays.
And then increasing costs by
But-
having additional.
And then
staff.
point of minor hockey, they're always prepared for it. They
Yeah.
pick road games or a tournament, like they'll go to a Silver Stick somewhere, somewhere else. Like if they make the Pelham Silver Stick, teams are all out of town that weekend because they know well in advance when the dates are. So just something to consider. Like I said, more from our staffing, our overtime, the additional, we have to have people move nets and it's a lot of running
Yes.
for our
It's a
people
large-
and a lot of moving parts that
Yeah.
people don't realize it affects our staff.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we also do get community benefit because all those people that are coming in to our arena are staying in our hotel, so we get the mat tax. But they're also,
They're gonna stay there.
they're asking for restaurants and where can we go and get a coffee and things like that, so. We have that side benefit.
So while we're on this topic, what about the floor rates?
So for the
Summer floor, lacrosse, ball hockey, roller hockey, all of that. So where do we stand for that?
with the idea was that we have the ice rental agreement for the wintertime activities. Well, we're going to mirror a similar agreement for summertime, and we'll be holding non-prime time rates for all of the activities in the summer as well. For the floor. So
That's generally how our non-prime rate is our summer rate as well.
Okay. And again, I'm just thinking about moving nets in the summertime is a lot harder for staff than it is moving nets in the wintertime when it's sliding on ice. Again, I'm just thinking about our staff and the extra work they have to do for different things.
The user group's pretty good.
Okay,
Yeah, like minor lacrosse, a lot of the players will carry the nets down for us.
Yeah.
Roller hockey guys, we have a cart.
Yeah.
They'll bring it down, bring it back. for
I've
us.
seen the cart move the lacrosse nets out when
Yeah.
lacrosse goes on and the ball
Sometimes
hockey
they're all
comes
willing to
off.
help, so we have good relationships that way.
Just considering day-to-day stuff like that and, that everybody takes for granted except the people doing the job.
Yeah, so we can look at a review for summertime rates as well.
Again, for our rink for ball hockey, it's awesome because it's one of the smaller surfaces, so you don't have to run as far. Especially for an adult ball hockey league, that's why they like using that facility.
Yeah,
I think that was the only two questions I had. Thank you. So with that recommendation then, where do we leave?
I was gonna say, would you like me to amend the recommendation to include the floor rates? I mean, our typical practice, as Derek said, is our floor rate is the same as our non-prime, but we can add a floor rate of $100 per hour as well.
Sure,
Just to-
yeah, because I'd like it mentioned.
just to make it
the
clear.
Summer.
Yeah.
For non-ice, with the non-ice season.
Because we are
Yeah.
fairly busy in the summer and there with the groups that we have.
And one little typo, Jim, on that. Well, the prime time, it should be.
Oh.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Yes, sorry, that's my yes.
The
Very top.
Yeah,
Very
we just
top.
don't have people
What it should just say after 4 PM.
Sure, yes.
There
Good.
doesn't need to
Thank
be
you.
an end
That's-
sign.
okay.
This price is including HSC, correct?
These are all in prices.
So we'll move that recommendation then
So
To-
seconded.
to the staff recommendation of increasing ice rates for the September 2026 meeting. Okay, speed tracking summary.
Thank you very much. Again, this is the speed cameras for Michigan Front in Venetian, and that will be last time that description is, as we have near Venetian Grammar over Walnut Street or over to St. Louis Street. We also, during this time frame, at that same time we moved Venetian, we also spun the camera down on Front Street, but this will still indicate data where we signage was facing them. So on front, again, the speeds we did notice, again, the speeds are significantly higher heading, so it's higher than northbound coming in. So again, the southbound speeds are a little bit are higher than northbound speeds. When we factor in all the details, about 70%, 69% of the inbound traffic conforms to the speed limit. We're at 3.9% at excessive speeds. They're very similar to the previous months, so I didn't see there was any change when it came down to that. Again, conversely, 49% of the outbound traffic conformed in 7.2%. They are higher than the previous month. Don't really have any reason or rationale, but they all fall within the normal limits we have seen over the last year and change with this particular camera. Daily average traffic is down. It's 3,700 vehicles per day, as well as, again, 52% of the traffic is heading out. So again, most traffic is heading southbound. Nothing really identified, anything changes. So it's very similar to what we've seen in the past at front. Again, when we move that camera, it'll be interesting to see what the data brings. Now we faced it back, facing south this month. So see if that kind of reverts back to the way it was previously. Moving on to Michigan, when we look at it, factored in for all the details, 74.5% of inbound conformed to the speed limit and 2.1 showed excessive speeds. Numbers continue to trend lower than average months. Conversely, 71.1% of outbound traffic and 3.3 had excessive speeds. That is a significant speed increase over the previous month, but this also shows that with the construction being down, people are leaving the village quicker than they're coming in, and that has been a standard previous to the construction. So it's again, it just basically the idea people coming into the village quite a bit slower, and that's nice. And it has shown that there hasn't been enough data to be able to show whether the work done further down has contributed to that. But right now, again, as all that construction work is, people are coming out of the village a little bit spicier than they're coming in. On average, the traffic has been 5,900 vehicles per day, with about 50% of them. It's a 50-50 mix coming into that right now, that's an interesting aspect. Again, the traffic increases. Any increase or decrease is significant according to the time of the season. This is a traffic increase over the last couple of months, again, because of the construction, but when you do a year-over-year analysis, we are actually down. Then Venetian, the average speed, again, is pretty much the same thing as every single month. 77.5% inbound traffic conforms to the speed limit, with 1.5 having excess speed, and then conversely 72.5 or 0.5% of outbound traffic with 2% traffic. We're looking at 2,300 vehicles per day. 47% of them are heading outbound. So inbound traffic mainly it's quite a bit of a lower road in terms of traffic and speed. I did a quick analysis below when it comes down to monitoring all the routes, just to give a comparative analysis. I know there has been some looking for a little bit more data when it comes down to that, but you can see that from Front Street, Venetian and Michigan. I apologize because you can't quite see is wish that it didn't quite show up as it should have, but blue being the blue being Front Street, green being Venetian and yellow being Michigan. You can absolutely see the trend line in terms of the number of traffic, where Venetian is quite a bit lower than everything else. That second line, which has one section of blue, the rest is yellow, that is to be Front Street where the traffic is lower. And then you can see Michigan Avenue by far is our highest traveled route through all those months over a 1 year period of analysis. So. And you can actually see where in Michigan's interesting, you can kind of see where the construction really started to affect some of its travel. Were there any questions?
This is awesome. Like, this is real data. I appreciate how you put that together and we can show hard numbers.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Any preliminary numbers on St. Clair Street? I know it's just been put out there. But
Nothing yet. No, I haven't done it. It's like, so only 12 days. I wanna wait for the end of the month
Yeah.
and then I'll take a look at it. I can't just from, I walk it every single day, you know, just being out front of it, the traffic is quite. The numbers are low that I've seen down that space, so I'll be interested. There might be a few outliers in terms of speed, but for the most part, I can't see a lot of speed down that space. But again, that's a really one-off point. So until the data comes in, I can't really say anything with.
yeah, and I see the sign's working as well too. As I come down Front Street or Michigan, you know, you're behind someone and you can see them hitting high 50s and then their speed slowly drop into closer to 50 because a lot of people just aren't aware of how fast they're going.
Mhm.
And they're very effective. I like just having the sign saying what your speed is at that time.
Yeah, the observation is a big key with that.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we can move on to capital project update.
Again, as we get closer to the end of the budget year, I just wanted to provide some more detail in terms of where we stood with this. Over the number of projects, so it's just at the receiving file, some updates. The Olympia Reserve, that's standard, just as we look at, as we spoke about earlier with the arena report, that the Olympia is seeing some age and it's starting to show its age, so we do have a reserve put into place, and so that was something that we did to be able to help support that if we move forward. Community hall tables, that was completed in July. The annual structural maintenance, so we did have capital budget asked to be able to do this. We put some money away. We had an engineering report, which was completed at the end of 24. A number of items were identified and several contractors came in to not only investigate the report, but then take a look at the physical conditions that were there. Pricing was provided to be able to help support in the number of the main areas of focus that we had identified according to that report. With that pricing, the pricing was quite a bit higher than the initial capital budget would allow to be able to get that work done. So we have looked at carrying that amount over and then requesting some additional funding to then in the spring, once the ice is out, to repair a couple of the main structural issues that and again, minor structural issues, but we want to make sure that we get them taken care of before they become major structural issues. So, you know, so we're looking at for the next budget cycle. Community hall security cameras, quotation had been received, project is undergoing, we had done the initial, they started at the end of last month by running some initial cabling, and they were even in there yesterday, doing some more work, so they'll have that project done very, very soon, by the end of this month for sure. Exterior door replacements over at the arena, that was completed in July. The parking lot pole lights, that was completed early in the year. Water filling stations, Derek mentioned that having great comments on, which was working well. Also was completed September. Parking lot depression. I worked with COPE as the area that this parking lot depression had been in was also their laydown area. So during their as they started to move all the equipment out of that space, I asked them to repair all of that space as it fell within that. So it didn't cost us anything. They did it under the part of the project for the street. So that money will be given back. But the repair had been completed. moving on to parks, the lighting project, so lots of consultation with Blowwater Power as well as a number of distributors to take a look at the lighting scenarios. It's been a challenge trying to get distributors to provide pricing because they'll normally work through individual contractors. I have received some feedback. Again, Blue Water Power, I think is gonna be our best pathway forward to be able to do this. Again, it's something I've talked to them. I'd like to carry the project over to 2026 and then be able to move forward with it. Again, Mike and I have a better idea of what to do moving forward. I was trying to work directly with the distributors, but I've done this in the past, but these distributors are very uneasy to do that. They want to work with a contractor who's actually gonna be able to do the work instead of working with the municipality directly to be able to do. So I'll determine the best pathway forward and then work with CAO and to help with that. Park McCray backstop, that carryover work, all that was completed. Pathway repairs, working as the influx of the summer. I wanted to make sure that we had some local asphalt vendors, but of course, every asphalt vendor in town was working in the city of Sarnia, laying asphalt. So as our project was very, very small and they had multiple streets to work on, it's something that I'll prioritize first thing in the spring, and I've spoken to the contractors about making sure that we can get some of that area done, as well as I'm going to be asking for some further funding to continue some larger areas down at Waterfront Park as we get closer to 2028 for the 150th. Playground reserve, and that was just capital monies put over for that 150 celebration that was completed. The halftime truck, again, I reached out to 6 different dealers over the summer, and we are happy to say that there's one in the garage. So that project is complete. Catch basin inspections, as I mentioned in my report, that has been completed. Cenotaph Monument, the quotation was received, and I know I brought this up in previous committee meetings about having some decorative fencing, exceeded the existing funding envelope that was there. I think some further discussion about what we're going to be looking at doing with that space will occur. I know we've had some initial discussions, but so that's where that still sits. There was no money spent in that particular budget line. Crack sealing, we did do some investigation throughout the areas, and for the most required crack sealing, the village is in pretty good shape. There's some challenges I worked with our public works department and myself, so some product has been purchased to be able to do this, and we're going to lay down some product prior to, I was going to say the snowflies, but that's not correct. But we're going to get some of the areas that we're concerned about. We'll make sure that they're ready for the winter time, and then that'll be completed. Heavy truck reserve, again, that's just a budgetary item that we put every year. The street lights down on Light Street, worked with Blue Water Power, and they did add 110 lighting capability from Satara all the way down to Stevie D's on the south side of the road. Our staff is going to go and put the bands up there, and we will be putting street lights along that corridor from that space
Nice.
this coming winter, so we'll help light up that section. The Michigan traffic intersections, again, that project was completed. And there was some report previous to that. Public Works Maintenance Building, so again, the vendor had been contacted for some structural details, as well as the doors, as well as the HVAC. And again, I reported on it in my previous report. Venetia Crosswalk, that was completed in July, as well as the roofing maintenance program. So the consultant had come through, and he's done a number of roof consultations through all of the village roof properties across all departments. And I worked with Jay, and I've spoken to the fire chief in regards to this as well, as it will affect his building as well. So the findings that were completed, and now we're just looking for the budgetary items for the next couple of years to be able to make sure that we maintain the assets.
Have we had any success with additional advertising revenue in the arena, McCray Park? I know we had discussed, using the backstop as putting signage there.
So I have done some initial research with some ballparks that I know. Again, Caledonia was a very good example of this, where they had some 4x8 signage along some of the fencing, and spoke to it's a private ballpark, so I spoke to the owner over there. I've spoken to some people that I know in the community. who've done this. Lulongo does a lot of the advertising, details, so there has been a mention to speak to him directly. I hadn't yet to do that. I've spoken to Jane and to Derek in regards to the existing number of people that are there, as well as the CEO. There's some consultation, I think, beyond the capability for myself. I don't know much about advertising or marketing in that area, so it's beyond my expertise, but we have started some understanding of what to physically do. It's just more of how to put a campaign together to be able to push that idea forward. So it's something I think we should look at, maybe a consultant of some type that has more expertise in this specific area. We did initial met with Jake Burry over at the Sarnia Sting, and there's a potential for some revenue within the next, it'd be a year out, but the idea that he would sell packages of advertising to all arenas in the community, of which we could be part of one, and then they would start putting advertising on in our arena on the basis, and we would be remunerated for that activity. So there has been a number of things in the works, but nothing as concrete come up this yet.
Yeah, it just jumps in my mind as far as when we start doing budget stuff and how to increase some revenues. And I just think of the corner of Michigan Ave and Front Street is such a busy corner. And we own that fencing, if even the back of the grandstands, even, I don't know, but I think there's untapped revenue there. Jim, is there any way that we can help this along? As far as like Mike saying, that's not his area of expertise. Everybody's got jobs they're doing. I don't know if there's any way that we can utilize this to create more revenue with existing spaces. I know in the past we had a marketing person that came in and said, I will sell your boards. I will make sure it all goes in. I'm going to take my cut for the work I do, and the village is going to get X amount of dollars. Does anybody like that exist anymore?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because that worked pretty well
Yeah,
there.
but that was the most advertising we ever had on board.
Yeah, and not just the boards. I think of like our ballpark. Yeah, just there's. I look at a hockey game now, and there's ads on the ice. Like even in the OHL rinks, the junior B rinks, they've got ads on the ice. They're selling like the stanchions, the goalposts, like, you know, there's just so many little things that we could possibly create revenue on.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's somebody like a marketing company we can partner with.
I don't know either. I mean, we've reached out to a couple of places and had no success. There is somebody that I can reach out to. I don't know if she does this kind of thing or not, but the person that organized the farmers market out in Brights Grove. Yeah, Brights Grove. I can reach out to her and ask if she, I don't know. Can't hurt to ask.
Maybe even if we reach out to like the Sarnia Lambton Business Development Group or the SLEP group or somebody, they might know of somebody.
Sure.
I'm just thinking of those groups that we interact with on a regular basis through the county that are trying to promote economic development, and there may be someone getting into that.
Yep. No, I can try that.
Natural tourist.
Yeah, I'm just thinking more of the economic people that are, you know, another revenue stream, especially for us when we're, you know, raising the rates of our rent. It'd be nice to find other streams as well.
Sure.
Thanks for the capital project update. We can receive and file that. And then item 6, 2026 budget discussions.
So I circulated some documents the other day. For some reason, we haven't figured out really why, but the capital information that went out was supposed to have 2 pages and it only had 1. So, this is like this morning's the first time seeing this. It's actually the first page that didn't go out.
I had a question I forgot to ask. We talked about Olympia Reserve. What was the target date for replacement? 15 years or
Originally, they,
we're at 13? Okay,
So that's,
that was the highest value on trade,
right,
and
okay,
their recommendations were obviously. You can ask them, we've maintained ours better than most.
yeah, okay.
So. We've got. Revenue here of 1.9 million. Expenses in total of 1.2. Now generally. The contributions to reserves are factored into this as well, like historically. Any contributions to reserves have all been included in the capital budget. They are now in a separate document.
The total revenue 1.9 is the funding we have, and capital request 1.28, and the reserve is 1.19. So the shortage is a 506 or something like that. So still combined together to show.
So what we're saying here, Jane, is we've got revenue of 1.9, requests of 2.4. Yeah, therefore we're 5. So we need to find cuts to the capital budget of $530,000, either cuts to the expenditures or increases to the revenue of 530,000 in order to balance the capital budget. So the reason for circulating this information today is to go through, have people get it in front of you a little bit earlier. We will be we'll meet as a management group in the next little while and go through and make some cuts as well. Define priorities, that type of thing. And actually the managers even haven't had a chance to go through this and see if there's something missing. I mean, Jane has done an incredible amount of work putting this together, but it's a lot to keep track of. So we want, we'll ask the manager to go through it and see if anything got missed and that type of thing. But it's kind of a starting point for budget day. Or actually it's not going to be the starting point for budget day. It's a starting point for management to review it before budget day. I will recirculate this. I'm not sure why only one page went out. I'm not sure what happened there. Anyhow, one thing, Public Works truck. So the fire department has in their budget to purchase a new pickup truck, and the plan that's been talked about a little bit, it hasn't been fully fleshed out or anything, but the plan is to recommend purchase of the new truck at the fire department and move the old truck from the department into the operations department for them to use. So right here, there's a 1/2-ton pickup truck that's listed as an unfunded request. Basically that, if that request will basically come off the table. But it's unfunded anyway, so it's not going to help the budget.
Yeah.
It's not going to help the 2025 capital budget. So if you go through, if you have questions about any of the capital expenditures ahead of time, please feel free to reach out to the manager or myself and any questions.
That 2026.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know what sinkhole for you. Oh, sorry, it should be called sinkhole. That was the, where on the community center where the eavesdrops come down. And we have to bring up issues. That's what that was.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm confused.
You can see some of them are additional funds for existing projects. Um. And then same thing in the operating budget, where the operating budget as proposed so far is looking at about a 12% increase. But management will go through that and whittle it down to something we feel more comfortable recommending to council. Again, it's just all the requests are brought forward. They're kind of put together for, Gene puts them all together for, to have the big picture, and then we haven't had management go through it as a group yet to review it. So. Any questions or comments at this point?
Just waiting to see the number go down.
Feel free, any questions, we're happy to, it's easier for us to know the questions before
Yeah.
budget day, so
Right,
we can
to
get
have-
to
Absolutely.
valid
Not
answers.
jump anybody.
You should be prepared that way,
Yeah,
rather than getting ambushed.
and I will circulate a 2-page capital document rather than a 1-page.
So that's just for discussion purposes. Really do anything with it.
Yeah, if there are things you'd like to talk about right now, we're happy to. But
I'd have to kind of go
What,
through
what
it.
was that ice resurfacer?
that's the.
That is, I thought so, I just wanted to make sure, because I saw it on the list, that it had a fancier name.
They're all ice reserve.
Yeah,
That
okay.
I look at.
Right.
Or is that both the other side?
Yeah, but, yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay, is there any other new business?
No, just, so given the timing, just a reminder that this weekend, this Saturday is Spirit Day at the arena. All the Pima teams will be playing a home game. And there's lots of activities planned at the arena, so it will be a busy community day.
I had one last question. The one group we didn't really mention as a major ice user is the figure skating club. Are they content with their piece of the pie? Are they asking for more ice or?
No, they actually took a little bit more ice. They're starting a half hour earlier on some days. Actually, an hour earlier in one day, so.
Yeah, I know we've talked a lot about the hockey groups and everything, and then,
They're more than they got lots of hours.
yeah,
Major.
I just didn't know if their numbers were up or down for any change.
I know this year, I think from the outside looking in, some of the groups are very busy, and then some of like the juniors are, I think they call them juniors now, are pretty lean, but. The younger can skates and that are busy.
Okay. Yeah, I just forgot to bring them up. Okay, we can move on to review of financial statements. Didn't see any big changes in there or anything that jumped out. Any questions on the
No.
financials? Okay, we receive and file those. And our next meeting date for this committee will be January 13th, 2026.
Again, to echo what Derek said, thank you very much for getting a number of this to share. It was a pleasure. I appreciate it. And the support.
Thank you. And we can adjourn.
So moved.